Hello, everyone. Welcome to Critical Recovery. This is a 5th edition homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in a persistent world that other campaigns happen to be in as well. All of them currently run by me, but, whatever. My name is Crash. I will be your DM for the evening. And with me today are a collection of intrepid, skilled individuals, including Chris, Ellie, Io, Jen, Cindy. Archbeth is hanging out in chat. I imagine an LFA will appear sooner rather than later to yeet all the things, or at least demand that they be yeeted. Considering the current side/main quest of the party, there will be a particular location where yeeting will be most effective, provided you can get there. So that could be a thing. And I am pleased to say that our Dungeons & Dragons campaign has at least 50% fewer bugs than that new game that came out recently. What was it? Cypher Prank 76? I think that's what it's called.
Close enough.
Yes. Many of the bugs that happen in that game never happen in Dungeons & Dragons. Wait, no, I take that back. Need to avoid absolutes. This is Dungeons & Dragons. One might say, well, kobolds never end up on the moon in Dungeons & Dragons.
And then...
Oh, Archbeth is correct. We do not tend to induce seizures with scenes that are required by the plot, and were actually researched to make them be more seizure-like.
Ugh.
But never mind about that, because that's a thing. But not in Dungeons & Dragons. The last thing I read about them fixing it was they said, we're going to put a warning there. Okay, but if it's still required for the game...
Yeah, it doesn't help at all.
The warnings there is they let people know they're fixing it as well.
But why was it there in the first place?
Because you know what CD Projekt
Because
like
jerks.
super realism, and they went a bit far on the super realism.
CD Projekt Red also owns Good Old Games, and Good Old Games has a very large number of transphobic tweets.
Yeah. So... let's talk about happiness and joy and what happened last week instead.
Last week, we killed some zombies that asked us to kill them. We did that.
I mean, yes, we did meet some Kevins who wished for death, and Gorga was willing to oblige.
Chris, the player, found it rather therapeutic to finally be able to kill a Kevin that I put into the game.
Accurate.
But otherwise, yeah, they were just part of the hive mind that was mining in this area, I believe.
Well, they were acquired from other worlds, because apparently every world has a Kevin somewhere in it. Those worlds had been destroyed, and those Kevins were being kept around because their brains were useful for the thing that had harvested them to seek out new life and new civilizations and pull them into the ethereal plane and consume them. And a good time is had by all, sort of. But they weren't very happy with that undead existence, so yes, they asked you to eliminate that. And they pointed out that right now, said process seems to be going on this planet. There is a Kraken priest hanging out on top of the Broken Spire, which is the largest mountain on the planet, making use of what's left of a portal that Tiamat and Bahamut both came through a few years ago. That was a wonderful moment. That was about 5 years ago, I think. And that portal's being used to pull more things through over and over again in order to weaken the bonds between this reality and the ethereal plane, with the hope that eventually the entire planet just gets sucked into the ethereal plane, and then whatever the thing is that's controlling everything gets to do what it wants. So yes, you were given something of a side quest for that, because it's not killing the Kraken again, but you need to save the world to prevent it from being destroyed again by somebody else.
Well, the goddess who gave us life again said, make sure the Kraken stays dead. And if this portal is being used to make the Kraken undead, then we destroy the portal. That's my vote.
That wasn't something that was brought up, but okay. In any case...
It sounds like it's implied based on every other bit of info you gave us about a portal.
There was additional information. Some of it was talked over last week and the DM is here for that content. Because hints were dropped, and we'll let you do your own thing. In any case, you were told you should probably go to the top of that very large mountain and do something about that.
Oh, top of the very large mountain, not a random tower.
No. There is, for the most part, only one mountain that is on this continent.
I didn't get the part where mountain was involved.
Well, I'm sorry, what is involved? You cut out.
I didn't actually get the part where a mountain was involved.
Yeah. So the players will remember in the Kobold campaign, there was an exciting climactic event on top of the Broken Spire where Tiamat was pulled through, and then Bahamut came through, and then the Tarask joined in, and everyone had a wonderful party. Well, there's remnants of that portal remaining, so that's where you need to go to deal with this side quest villain.
Well, we have a goddess who gave us our new bodies, so worth a shot.
I'm pretty sure we all already agreed to this.
It's possible. But I don't have an NPC in your party right now other than Vex the pseudo-dragon. So...
Who doesn't really talk. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they can communicate through limited...
I'm pretty sure we all already agreed to this last session.
I think so.
Yes. But without the party saying, okay, we're heading there now. You're just like, yep, right. I guess this is the thing.
So it sounds like we're doing this.
Going to take a long time to climb up.
Vex, by the way, in his own search of the town that you were in that had the mechanical broken dragon thing, has found 5 additional ace cards.
Good job.
Can you
They
find
are
me
all
some
from-
rope next time? Because my last rope burned and I could really use some more rope.
All the aces, by the way, are from artistically unique decks. Like, they all have different back designs.
You're a good boy, Pseudo-Dragon, but for now, look for some rope and let's head towards the mountain.
Vex flies off.
Well, I have heard that the dragons like treasures, and perhaps these little cards are his. Kind of a dragon, yes.
Vex flies back with a bit of rope. It is about 5 inches long and charred on both ends.
Oh, good kid.
He tried.
I will pretend to accept it gracefully, but I am very disappointed internally.
Give me a deception check.
And my deception check is 14.
Well, I rolled a 3 for Vex, so Vex believes that Vex has done a fantastic job, and Vex is incredibly proud of himself. He flies over to sit on top of Morley's head and just preens.
Okay, this is fine for now.
It is also incredibly awkward for Morley.
It's a little weird, but I don't think he'll sit for long. Probably not. I hope not.
He does that thing where he goes in a circle a couple times and then settles in.
Oh, he's going to sleep here. Okay, well, all right then. At least
You
we
have
know where he is.
You have acquired a pseudo-dragon-shaped hat.
Yes.
Well, let's start walking.
Okay.
So as you continue, the journey is mostly uneventful. Occasionally you hear a roar off in the distance to let you know that the Tarask has not yet gone to sleep. Maybe it's roaring in its sleep, but you're not hopeful in that regard because that would mean things are going your way for a change. As you progress, you find considerably large chunks of rocks scattered around, deposited, I wouldn't say recently, because there's evidence that stuff has settled on top of them and stuff has grown around them, but many of them also appear to have crushed small trees and large trees, and that looks like it was a giant redwood that got crushed. So yeah, they fell at some point off of the spire. Perhaps the spire was a bit larger 5 years ago. Narrator point, it was. And then the Tarask woke up. And it was buried underneath the spire, so it got out. And as you continue to approach what is essentially the foothills of the spire, the ground is starting to slowly go up a little bit. There's a few rolling hills, not many, but there's some. It becomes obvious that there is, in fact, someone with a campfire towards the base of one of the very large cliffs off in the distance.
Insight check.
What insight are you trying to gather?
My general perception, which in this case rolled out to a 24.
Okay. So there is someone very clearly dressed in rags. They appear to be a dragonborn. From this distance, you can't tell what their gender might be. But they're dressed in rags. They're very dirty. And they are cooking something over the fire. And there's a lot of carvings in the wall behind them.
Okay, everybody, I see a dragonborn that is cooking something, and they have a lot of carvings in the wall, so I think they live there.
Probably one of the ones we were told were around here when things went all god-shaped.
Perhaps we should follow recent history and go invite them to join our party.
Knowing this group, that means giving our life history and blood samples and a hair sample just in case they want to scry us later.
You two done? I think we have a world to save. Come on.
We should go, yes.
Okay. As you get closer, it no longer requires the perception values for Gorga and Zuda to see what the sculptures are. It's low relief sculpture, so it's like engravings and stuff. But most of them are images of the Tarask doing various Tarask type things, like breaking out from some type of rocky prison, rampaging various cities. There's one where you're pretty sure that didn't happen, where the Tarask seems to be tied to the bottom of a giant blimp. It looks very happy in that one.
How lovely.
There's also one that doesn't have the Tarask at all. It's a collection of 5 kobolds, but they're rendered the same size as the Tarask in the various Tarask murals. And as you get closer, the dragonborn that's there seems to be humming a merry little tune. It isn't a very good tune, but they seem happy to do
it. I'm so quiet?
No.
That fun? No? Okay.
No, it is not I'm So Quiet.
Well, Gora's probably last in line, or at least close to last in line, because Talia's also there, and they might be competing for last in line.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is singing.
I'm probably in
or
front.
she. Yeah, I'm probably following Ryan. So
I'm just imagining Talia and Gorga, like they both move a foot forward slowly at the same time, looking at the other person's foot to make sure that they are not going to end up in front of the other person at any moment. Like every step forward is the result of a truce, an unspoken truce between them, that they will in fact move one more step forward.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'd agree.
Oh, wow.
Your imp, by the way, finds this whole thing incredibly amusing. They actually have gone about 30 seconds without swearing.
Impressive.
Yeah.
They're distracted by the Talia-Gorga interaction.
How far away are we from this person that is singing?
You are close enough now to see that the thing that's been cooked over the fire is in fact a giant rat.
Okay.
Or it was before it was slaughtered and then cooked. Well, one would hope that was the order. There's no evidence to say otherwise, but you've seen some strange things. And the Dragonborn is ripping off one of the legs and chewing on it messily.
Okay. Looks like this Dragonborn maybe doesn't care so much that we are passing by.
I poke one of you two with a stick saying, say something.
I will not do the Foley work, but I will say that this Dragonborn is in fact a very messy eater.
Oh, okay.
Well, should ask if they know anything. Ryan's gonna head towards them.
They
don't acknowledge you as you walk towards them. They have finished off the first leg and they are tearing off a second.
Talia just leans to Gorga. You think they'll get the hint that they don't want to be bothered, or?
Knowing this group, they'll give our blood types in just a couple of minutes.
Right.
That's only required if you're befriending a vampire.
So we'll be quick. You know anything about the spire on top of up there?
The Dragonborn notices that you're talking to them. They immediately scooch backwards on the ground about 5 feet, tossing the leg they were chewing on in another direction. Like, don't sneak up on me like that!
I am wearing chainmail and I'm bright gold. I don't sneak up on anyone like anything.
I was, kind of busy. Hard to notice. So long as you're not the size of a Tarask, the Great One, the Devourer of Worlds, then I don't always notice.
You know what? That's sorry about that.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. None of us matter. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, great. It's crazy.
Oh, no. This is not a good sign.
Crazy? I was crazy once. They put me in a room. I like that room.
This being is a few
if,
days short of a pound of dice.
If nothing matters and none of us matter anyway, would you mind telling us what you know, if anything, about that spire thing on top of the mountain?
The spire? The mountain? Yes! Yes! The prison of the World Eater. It broke free with help from the Harbingers. They woke it up.
Players are like, that's not accurate.
I know.
First they woke the 20. It ate them. Then they woke it. Wait, That's not quite the right order. They woke it. It ate the 20. It ate a god. I'm sure of it.
So I think we can just say whatever this person said is utter nonsense.
Even the memory of the god. I think I served that god once. No matter. It's gone now. Everything about it is gone. All that's left is the World Eater. It eats, it consumes everything. People, animals, trees, rocks. Eventually, all that will be left is the World Eater.
Does it consume that rock down there? And I point to a random rock on the basin of the mountain.
Clearly not yet, but it will. It's only a matter of time. And at that exact moment, you hear a roar off in the distance. You see? It persists.
You're quite interesting. You're a bit of a paradox. You remember that you've forgotten.
I'm not even one duck.
Oh, good. In the name of all the gods. You
God's
remember
not important. It eats gods too.
You remember that you've forgotten something, but you don't quite know that you've forgotten. It's a bit of a paradox. It's quite interesting.
I know I've forgotten. I forgot because the god was devoured entirely. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
How about 5 copper pieces for you to just run down the hill and eat everything in your way?
What do you think I am?
What do you
A
think
worshipper of the World Eater?
Pac-Man?
Ah, yes. The last of them. There were more. There were more of us. We were a bit too enthusiastic. If one of us we knew had to stay behind, there should be at least one. The rest tried to worship up close. They worshipped for a while. Just a while. And now there's just me.
You make no sense on the best of days.
It doesn't matter. I think you're trying to be insulting. A valiant attempt. I'd have to care for it to hurt.
Oh, it's less fun if they don't care.
Well, whether anything matters or not, we've got a job to do and we're gonna do it. So
A job. It's good to have an occupation. What's yours?
mercenaries.
To make sure a squid thing stays dead.
You're turning into them. You're giving everything away.
Oh, like they're gonna hide it anyway.
I mean, that's fair, but also I don't think this thing's going to remember anyway.
I remember a lot. Well, anything that
I'll
isn't devoured.
rephrase. I'll rephrase. You'll remember no one's going to believe or care what you say.
Not even me.
See?
Say,
Point.
would you like to see where it happened?
Yes.
No.
Not
I
really.
think that's where we're going. So
Well,
yes.
never really
Well,
believe.
Our
kind of
business has
already
nothing
there.
to do with Bahamut or Tiamat. I don't see why this is relevant.
Because this knows where the thing broke free from, and it sounds like the thing broke free from the place we're going. So yes, we want to see it.
It's not
So
where you're going. It's where you've gone. We're here. This is where the World Eater slept for eons before the Harbingers came and woke it with song.
I was going to say, yes, he's talking about the Tarask, which would make sense here. We want to get up there.
Up there, that is where the other thing happened, where it ate a god.
Yeah.
It climbed the side of the spire, the Broken Spire, and ate a god.
I don't imagine it ate a god.
Would it be the first time something?
I have been there. I have seen it. I have seen the void that was left in its place. I make a pilgrimage there once a year. I was going to be going up there soon. Would you care to join me? Company
How
for the ride.
convenient.
I mean, gods eating each other makes enough sense to me, but then again, I also avoid knowing as much as I can about gods and their business.
It is quite convenient. It's quite convenient that you are here. I was putting it off. I should have gone earlier. Long ago. The road is not as safe as it was before. I'm not important. Nothing is important. But I'd like to stay not important a bit longer. Some help for the climb would be useful.
You guide us. We
How
make
about
sure
no?
you don't die. All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, you don't have to join me. No one has to. It's not important. But it is a sight to see before the end. It's a great view.
And I say you climb the dangerous mountain yourself, and we just decide if we want to go later.
That's fine.
We're kind of on a time limit, you know.
Kind of are, and we don't know how to get there. This person does.
That and the giant pit of diamonds is, just sitting up there, in case you're
Diamonds?
interested.
Diamonds?
Oh, yes.
Now
Many.
you've got them, yes.
It was a shrine, a temple. Actually, several temples. It's a little confusing, even for me, and I understand much.
I mean, if there's diamonds, we could go, right?
I mean, I'm not saying no at this point.
Right. So,
The diamonds
let's go.
were
Gorger and
collected.
Charlie are very mysteriously suspicious and greedy.
Yeah, we are.
I've finished my lunch. Shall we go?
Let's go.
Of course.
Okay. They stand up. They never actually fully stand up. They are kind of in a permanent half crouch. And go over to the rock face and say, "Mold Earth." And the rock peels away, and you see a staircase.
Nice trick.
Wow,
You pick
that's
things up.
something.
It's a parlor trick.
I had to seal it. There were things coming down. They still come down, but mostly over the side. Not all of them survive a drop like that. The ones that do, I try to stay away.
What do things look like?
Like the worst flower imaginable.
Oh, we have seen. Okay.
Got
Yes.
some, yes.
They're not pleasant at all.
No, not at all. The World Eater will eat them too. It eats everything. And they start heading up the staircase.
Okay.
They continue to talk whether or not you follow them, so you just hear their voice sort of echoing in this tunnel of the
following.
staircase,
I will
trailing up
follow
in front of
Ryan.
you.
I'm probably following them, but I will not be the first to follow them. So,
Ryan's
That's all.
probably first, and Modi's probably right behind.
Okay. So as you continue up this staircase, there are spots on the outer wall of this tunnel where it's almost like arrow slits built in that let light and air in, so you're not going to suffocate to death, and you can actually see where you're going even if you don't have dark vision, which is kind of nice. The steps are mostly uniform. Every now and then they are obviously not, but for the most part they are. And every so many feet there's an area that is hollowed out more on the inside wall, which appears to be like a rest stop or something. Every about 20 feet, this dragonborn pauses and kneels down on the stairs and mutters to themselves with their hands on the steps in front of them. And then they get back up again and continue.
I have many concerns, but diamonds will still lead me to follow them.
Yeah.
Checking weaknesses. The spire is not as intact as it used to be. Broken more by the World Eater in time. Checking for faults. Would not want everything to collapse underneath us or above us. That would be bad. It wouldn't matter.
That would be really bad.
It wouldn't matter in the long run, mind you.
Are you
think it would
capable
for a
of
little
talking
while.
sense for 2 seconds straight? Just 2 seconds. That's
He
all I
makes
know.
They're making the plans.
I'm checking for cracks to see if we're going to die now instead of later.
That's a bit clearer, yeah.
Okay, so the whole thing could fall on our heads then?
No, because I checked.
No?
I
Okay,
checked. It's safe.
Keep checking.
I
Keep
check every so many steps. I check. I understand. I'm a little hard to follow. I've been alone for some time. Usually only talk to myself for the most part.
Well, your 2 seconds gave us a lot more insight than we've had over the last few minutes, so whatever. You keep checking for cracks.
I mean, there was that nice vulture person, but they didn't talk much.
How long ago did they come by?
What day is it?
Does it even matter at this point?
No.
It's been
I've
a
been
while.
saying that. I'm glad that you're on the same page now. Okay, and this continues for
Oh my goodness.
a significant part of the day. The sun is starting to set at this point, and the Dragonborn picks one of the alcoves that they've made over you have no idea how long, and uses mold earth to widen it a bit more to accommodate all of you. We rest here for the night. It's been a long walk.
It has.
We'll be longer. We are not yet halfway.
All right.
So
and
once
that
he's out of
sounds
range, I'm going to ask
unavoidable.
50-50 who's up for murdering him.
He is our only guide, though. I mean, we
mean-
need him.
Could be
Can
fun.
you
Does he count as a guide? I mean,
He's leading us somewhere. It's going up. We need to go up. So maybe,
I mean, just because
he's
we
keeping
need
us
to go-
safe here.
Just because we need to go up doesn't mean, we can't figure that out. It's
All right.
up.
But
Hey,
he's the one who is checking
let
for the
me-
cracks to make sure it does not fall down on our heads.
Someone roll an
Let me-
insight check for me.
I'm rolling an insight
Okay.
check.
One moment.
Find it. Unless Ryan
Morley
wants
may roll at
a 22
advantage
on
because of
insight?
something Morley has said.
Okay.
19.
I have
The 22
roll
will do it.
advantage
The 19 will
mean-
do it. You get to roll two.
2 times.
Yeah, and whichever number is higher is the one you take. The 17 from Zuda will do it.
My highest one is a 14.
Okay. So Morley was saying something along these lines, and Morley hasn't fully made the connection. But Zuda and Talia and Gorga all realize, wait a minute, does anyone in the party know Mold Earth?
I was just asking exactly that.
So you're talking about murdering the one person who can make sure you don't die.
Recall that I did say, can you check for cracks?
There you go.
Okay, but once we're where we need to go, then we can murder him?
Let me lay this out real clear for you. Try it and I'll stab you. Great, let's go.
yes, Mom.
Challenge accepted.
Really?
Oh no, I said that I was a whisper. That was a whisper.
Vex hisses at you.
Is Vex still on top of my head?
No, Vex got off eventually.
Okay.
Your head was moving too much for Vex to really get a good nap.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first hour, he didn't want to move just on principle.
Can wind his way around my horns, I guess.
At one point, he was trying to hold onto your horns and use them to steer. This did not go as intended.
Okay.
And as Ellie is pointing out
I will
in chat,
interpret that as you casting lemons. Not tiny, but just lemons.
no, you do not cast Lemon Tiny Hut. Lemon Tiny Hut would be a lemonade stand,
Yeah.
which would provide refreshments. That would be nice. Cast lemons before wine. Okay. I don't think, I'm not someone who partakes, but I don't think I would want, if I did partake, to consume a wine made from fermented lemons. I have concerns. You know what? Sure, Archbeth, you get inspiration for your pun of lemons before wine. Good for you. So Zuda, based on Ellie's comment in chat, is casting Leoman's Tiny Hut. Do you allow this Dragonborn in as well, or just the rest of the party? Everybody. Okay. So this Dragonborn also steps into the tiny hut, this little magical sphere. Very comfy. Very cozy. Yes.
It's a very good place to rest.
And I appreciate that Work Habit in chat has said, Zathras have sad life, probably have sad death, but at least there is symmetry. Yeah, I was not thinking of Zathras when I picked this particular voice, but it makes sense. It has been a long time since I thought of Zathras. By the way, that's a Babylon 5 reference, for those who did not know.
I did not.
Babylon 5 is one of those shows where the CGI did not hold up at all, but the plot was very interesting.
Was I alive?
For that, yes, I believe you were. You were very young.
Okay.
You were probably more interested in Power Rangers. You probably are still more interested in Power Rangers. But never mind about that.
Go Power Rangers.
Hey, the remake movie that they did was really good. I enjoyed it.
And Power Rangers came out recently enough that there was some level of quality control put into it that one did not see with many of the children's shows that were produced in the 80s. Sadly. Oh, so sadly. But enough about my disappointments. You successfully have a long rest inside Liam's tiny hut. It is the next morning.
Okay.
This person that you are with, who has not given you their name, does not make coffee for everyone in the morning, so they are already worse than a lawyer.
Oh.
The lawyer who almost split the party. Actually, no, the lawyer who did split the party.
I was going to say, yeah, dead successfully split the party. 2 of us walked away.
Was still willing to make you coffee. This person, you're not entirely sure that they would grind the beans by doing something other than chewing them.
Yes, but 2 of us have already made points of how much we want to kill the person, so...
Also true.
Well, I'm cooking breakfast, not on my shield.
But your shield makes for such a good pan.
Well, Lloyd did teach us one good thing about that shield.
I think I'm out of coffee.
Yes.
I've been taking notes on what's in Morley's bag or whatever, and I don't see that anymore.
That shield probably would not make a good pan. It's got carvings on it. Easy to get stuff stuck in there.
It'll do in a pinch.
No, in a pinch, yes. And in the long run, it doesn't matter.
Well, in the short run, I'm making breakfast.
Okay. So there is breakfast. I assume there is coffee, if for no other reason than Talia will make it if no one else will.
Talia will make as much coffee as humanly possible.
I think Morley used up all his coffee way back in the beginning, because he doesn't seem to have any right now.
I imagine that if you look at the supplies of this party, it is 50% coffee by volume.
It could be. Am I to assume that he still has some? Is that what you're saying? Or...
I'm saying that it is possible that if Morley is out, someone else has some.
Has it. Okay, that's fine.
If nothing else, someone's going to ask the imp to procure coffee. And maybe coffee from hell is a bad thing. Maybe it's what you need.
It's got a real nice kick to it.
Well, kick to it, yes. Nice. Can anything nice come from hell?
It's because it's made of souls.
Nothing like the screams of the damned to wake you up in the morning, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if they're at hell and we're not, then we can't hear the screams.
Oh, they can when you make coffee out of their souls.
You're all very disturbing. Did anyone ever tell you that?
Once or twice.
I worship an eater of the world, and you're messed up.
Thank you, dear.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
The DM will give himself
between the two of
inspiration.
us, I think one of us has an award for the most disturbing.
Wow.
Talia's just sitting there putting lipstick on, fixing her hair, while talking about drinking the souls of people as coffee.
I like how, yesterday you were running from a terrace. Today you're putting on lipstick and climbing a mountain.
Hey, Talia wants to look good when she does anything.
There you go.
This is her morning routine. Coffee with the souls and then hair.
Yeah, this dragonborn doesn't really do much with their hair. Thank you. 2 people thought the joke was funny. That's 2 more people than I expected.
So, shall we get moving again?
I'm sorry, I just laughed at Ellie's text joke.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellie.
Okay. Is it a light roast or is it Dark Souls? Suddenly, everything goes black when you take a sip, and you just see red text that says, "You have died."
No, that was the beginning of the campaign.
You are not wrong.
I already gave you inspiration before the game started tonight.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so you don't get any more. So there. No, instead you find a knight that talks about praising the sun, and then he does a happy little dance. But never mind about that. That's not true. That's not canon. So,
I was just about to say, you do you, buddy.
Shall we continue to climb?
Sure, why not?
If we are ready to go,
We are almost at. Well, no, not almost at the halfway point. We're getting closer to the halfway point. Should not take more than a few more days.
Gorga gives a long, deep, heavy sigh.
No
but
more
that
than
is
a
all
week.
Gorga does at this point.
You see why I put this off and only do it maybe once a year, not twice. It's a lot.
it's a lot. But you have people to go with. Maybe that makes it easier.
Oh yes, the company is much more refreshing. I particularly enjoy the constant threats on my life from your two companions over there.
This is how they view the world, I suppose.
To each their own. It takes all kinds, I'm told. Okay, and they head out the bubble and immediately come back in.
What is wrong?
So, what terrible thing is out there?
That's an excellent question. I have not seen one quite like that before. You remember the worst flowers that
Yes.
you've encountered before? Imagine if one of them
Terrible.
Imagine if one of them had a pet dog
Oh,
that
no.
ate them.
Wait, what?
I need to see this. And Ryan sticks their head out of the hut.
Okay. You see a horrible thing.
For what it's worth, the hut is transparent from.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Then I shall show you what you can all see. In my defense, this particular dragonborn didn't notice when someone wearing chain armor, glittering, and carrying a
just
small
about
arsenal.
Carrying an armory and a giant sack of gold. Well,
Yes.
not a giant sack, but like a lot.
The point is, you were able to sneak up on this person. So they still would have gone outside of the tiny hut
That makes sense, yeah.
before realizing that they were not alone.
Mm.
Give me a second. I am getting the picture to share.
Okay.
The issue is I can't drag and drop it into Discord properly right now for some reason, so I have to do the whole click on the various menu options when trying to find the file, and I didn't save it in a easy to grab location.
Well,
This is a me problem, and I'm uploading now the picture of a new friend. The new friend has
Whoa.
6 limbs. Its face opens up into 3 jaws that are equally spaced in a sort of triangular fashion. It's got some spikes on the top of it, but not very large spikes. It has a tough, leathery-looking skin. Each of the limbs ends in 3 clawed digits. No eyes to speak of, and one could argue it is probably the worst hippopotamus.
So a worst cat.
Much larger than a cat.
Oh.
But one moment.
Is it acting hungry? Because I believe we have some food ready for it if it is.
Well, right now, it's kind of just like curled up and sleeping near the entrance to this alcove that you're in.
Bad news.
Okay.
Also, by D&D standards, it is considered to be a large creature.
Well, it sounds like we may have a stabby time coming up for us. Who else's game?
It's asleep right now.
Well, it's hard to tell because it doesn't have eyes.
Ryan, I do not trust you to sneak past this thing.
I'm
Me
laughing
and Talia,
because
maybe
What?
you know.
And if you will listen to me for 5 seconds, that's not what I was intending to do. So, Ryan is going to cast Firebolt at it.
from inside the tiny hut.
No, outside.
Okay, because I seem to remember
You can't
someone
cast
looking something
spells
up.
through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't cast spells through it.
I mean, you can definitely cast Firebolt inside the tiny hut if you want to.
But it'll bounce.
Oh, no.
It'd be the Star Wars scene from the Garbage Smasher on the detention level.
If you want to cook us all, that's a good idea.
Liam's tiny hut is magnetically sealed. Oh, by the way, I was laughing earlier because EO has shared with us the context for their comment about how it'd be a worst cat. That is an adorable picture of a tiny hippo, and yes, that would be a terrible cat.
It's moist.
I don't want to know that information. I mean, it makes sense. They like to hang out in water, but I still don't want to know that.
I love that word. So many people hate that word. I love that word. I'm not opposed to the word in general. It has a lot of good uses, particularly when you're dealing with paints. But with that said...
Anyway.
With that said, someone is stepping out of Lehman's tiny hut and casting Firebolt. So on that note, I'm going to suggest that we roll for initiative.
Okay.
This is going to be interesting.
The usual question.
Yep.
You can assume the answer is yes, unless I tell you.
I got a 15.
18.
8.
And I see a 9 for Zuda. And looking for more... 16 for Morley. Okay. I have rolled for initiative. The Tarrasque goes first. But they are currently out of range, so that it's going to take them a few rounds to get to you. Talia, you're next.
Did the firebolt go off?
Now, according to the devs, and I thought I would try it this time, the moment someone says they're going to do something, that starts initiative. So there's no such thing technically as a surprise round. So technically, Talia, if you want to do something before the firebolt, you can, or you can say, no, that's fine. And then we move on to the next person.
Okay. Because everything I wanted to do kind of relies on what happens with the bolt.
Okay. So that's fine.
Or
so that means
just all admire the moist hippo that was posted in chat.
It is an adorable little baby hippo. So next up is Morley.
Action is a thing, but I can only hold an action, and that means no movement, and I'm inside the dome, so I couldn't really do anything anyway.
Okay. So, Morley, is there anything you want to do other than watch the party tank cast a firebolt?
Jen, you're muted.
Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. Okay. I'm still thinking anyway, so you didn't miss much. Okay, so what I want to do is stick my hand outside of the tiny hut and cast Chill Touch on this thing. So if it is like the worst flowers we have fought before, it won't be able to regenerate health. That's what I want to do.
So here's what I'm going to say happens. You go to stick just your hand out of the tiny hut, and when you stick just your hand out, it's kind of like you have started a motion in a certain direction, and the rest of you just sort of goes, and now the whole of you is on the outside of the tiny hut.
Okay, I'm still going to cast Chill Touch.
Okay.
And I got 14 to hit. Probably not good enough.
A 14 does not hit.
Okay, then damage doesn't matter. That's,
okay.
I think that's all I can do.
It's possible. We are going to then move up to Zuda. I'm sorry, not Zuda. Gorga is next.
Well, this is the kind of enemy where it doesn't feel like my rapier will do much extra, so I'm gonna pull out my short bow and shoot an arrow.
Okay. Do you shoot it while you're inside the hut?
I'll try not to, but you said the hut kind of popped previously.
You can be inside the hut. You can be outside the hut. You cannot be both.
It didn't pop. It just, when Morley reached out, all of him went out.
Yeah. You cannot be Schrodinger's hut resident. So you are either inside the hut or out of the hut. You cannot be partway.
I'll be outside of the hut, but do I still get my sneak attack bonus for flanking since I'm going to attack the enemy that was most damaged?
But there's no enemy that's damaged.
Yeah, we haven't.
Chill Touch fizzled.
Let's see. So sneak attack. If another creature is attacking it, then I still should get my sneak attack bonus.
As DM, I'm allowing that, sure.
Okay, so that's a 26 on the attack roll.
A glancing blow.
And I only rolled a 5 without the sneak attack, but with the sneak attack, the total adds a 13. So total of 18 damage with the sneak attack bonus.
Okay, you stab it a lot. Unfortunately, it is immune to water genasi that used to be an elf damage.
Oh, no.
It's a very specific immunity that's listed on here. I didn't think that's something that would ever come up, but apparently it's often enough a thing. Weird.
Gorga would believe this, but she is still using her bow.
Gorga would probably be just like, I don't know what just happened, but I know I don't like it.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, it's Vex's turn. Vex decides that the tiny hut is the place to be and is looking at everyone who's stepping out of the hut as if they are insane. All right. This creature that has just been shot by an arrow snorts awake. And at this point, it sees 2 tasty snacks. Well, see is an odd word to use. By the way, it regenerates 10 hit points.
Ugh,
Ugh.
I was trying to prevent this.
Gorga dislikes that.
Okay. It snorts awake and goes...
Uh-oh.
Yes, you could imagine that a sound like that includes some type of expectorant. It does.
Can I use my cloak of shielding to try to prevent this problem?
A cloak of shielding would be very useful if it was making an attack roll. It is unfortunately for you not making an attack roll.
Okay.
It is requiring you to make a dexterity saving throw. And that would be for Gorga and Morley, because the two of you are the two that are at this moment outside of the tiny hut.
Okay, I got 17 plus 3 for a 20.
You pass.
I got a 10 because I rolled a 3, but I have a high dex bonus.
Okay. So Gorga's taking 18 acid damage from a sticky, mucousy webbing that is now covering a significant portion of this alcove. And Morley is taking 9 points of acid damage because you made your save.
Okay.
And next up is Zuda.
How far am I from this?
Just kill it.
It's about 10 feet from the sphere.
That was in character for Gorga anyway. She's just shouting, just kill it already.
I'm deciding how to kill it.
And this is why I wanted to step out first.
Unfortunately, several of your party members decided they were going to do something before you could.
I did not mean to step out of the hut. It sort of pushed me.
I'm not the one who started this fight. I'm
No, but
just
you
the
did get first
one who
blood.
drew blood.
Gorga is Rambo.
How much damage did you do, Gorga?
I shot an arrow.
18
I'm
points of
asking out
sneak
of
attack
character.
damage. And some of it got healed. But it was initially 18 points.
Okay.
I'm good at drawing blood. Don't ask me any other questions.
There are other skills that Gorga is good at, but don't ask Gorga about them, because then Gorga will have to lie to you about them.
Yes.
Like
Does
knowing
the
what happened to your
19
coin purse.
Does a 19 hit?
A 19 will hit. This means that you are also outside of the...
Yes. I'm sorry,
tiny
I
hut.
thought I said that.
I'm checking a note about something. Okay, so the 19 hits. What's next?
It takes 14 points of radiant damage, and the next attack roll made against it has advantage. That's a guiding bolt, if it's not clear.
I assumed you were casting Cure Light Wounds. Come to think of it, wouldn't Chill Touch actually be like Lay on Hands, but for warlocks?
Kind of, but you're at a distance,
Kind of.
I guess.
Lay on Facepalm.
Something like that.
Lay on the cold hands of death.
So, Ryan, you wanted to do a thing, and everyone just sort of got in front of you, except for Vex, Talia, and this dragonborn was like, you can do what you do. That's fine. But it is now your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to walk out of the tiny hut, point a flaming sword at it, and fire a firebolt at it from said flame.
Okay.
Because that is how Ryan casts firebolt.
Dramatic.
That thing you do.
Oh my goodness, she's Link. They're Link.
And that is a 19 to hit.
Dun, 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 dun.
They're shooting their sword.
It was dangerous to go alone. They took that. Roll your damage. A 19 hits. 17 points of damage.
That is 17 points of fire damage. Do I have enough movement to close with it?
Well, the webbing that is covering everything right now is difficult terrain, but it's still only 10 feet away from you, and you've got a movement speed of, I think, 30, so yes.
All right.
That was an
would-
attack roll, right?
Yeah.
Well, the 19 was an attack roll, the 17 was damage.
So roll again to see if you get a crit. Because you've got
Why
a
do I-
Damage from the
because of
glitter
guiding
bomb.
bolt.
Oh, right. that is the exact same number.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. That's the same number if, like, it's the number you rolled on the die, but it was low enough that, I see. It doesn't have your bonus.
I did not put in my bonus.
Yes.
But
Math
maybe it's like
aside,
doubles in Monopoly, so they get to roll again.
no. Math aside, you have done some damage, and we are going to move forward to the next person.
No, we are not.
Oh.
Because I am closing with it and casting Quickened Inflict Wounds.
You're going to boop its snoot.
Do I still have advantage?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Guiding Bolt works for the next attack only.
Okay. That is a 21.
Another glancing blow. I am being so lenient with these rolls.
And 15 points of necrotic damage.
It's not a fan. It grabs the Gorga dislike that sign and crosses out Gorga's name and puts its own there.
Can I read its name?
No.
I know we're kidding.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
It's in an alphabet that when you look at it, your eyes start to cross.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Still funny though.
It has a language. It's written here in the stats. You don't speak it.
Can I read it though?
I'd have to look at your character sheet, but I don't think you have that ability to read all languages.
I think I might.
Oh wait, that's right, because you got that book on weaving and you wanted to be able to read it.
Yeah, Eyes of the Runekeeper, you can read all writing.
Okay, well, if this wasn't a totally out of character, out of context event that I made up that's not canon, then yes, you would be able to read it. With that said, I think that was Ryan's turn. Mm-hmm. And now it's time for the dragonborn. And I'm using stats for them, but the name for the stats that I'm using is not the name for this dragonborn, so I'm trying to not call them by those stats. And I have almost screwed up several times. So they are going to do a thing. They are going to...
Do the thing.
We believe in you. You can do the thing. They are going to step out of the bubble and immediately... Well, no, they will not immediately make a save, because that's at the start of your turn you make the save. So they step out of the bubble. They are now in the same webbing of nope that everyone else who stepped out is in. At this point, I think Talia is the only person who's just like... So Talia and Vex are the only two that are still inside the tiny hut.
If Ellie left the tiny hut and it's theirs, it would disappear.
Ooh.
That's how tiny hut works.
Well, that means that they did have to make a save. But that's a 19, so that's pretty good. They are taking 9 points of acid damage.
I would have to make a save too.
At the start of your turn.
Okay.
And they are going to rush forward and also cast Inflict Wounds because it worked for one of you. So it should work for somebody else too. So we're going to do a roll for hit. And that is a miss. That is definitely a miss. Okay, well, that is the end of the round. We're going back up to the top of it, but we have been playing for over an hour. So what do you say we take a short stretch break? And when we come back, we'll do round 2.
Yep.
And we went live 3, 4, 5 seconds ago. Wait, that's not how we're supposed to count down. Okay, well, in any case, we're starting the second round of combat. We are back. And first up is going to be Iggy. Iggy has a nice sip of coffee and goes, it's a wonderful morning. It really is. I hope everyone is doing quite well today. Next up is Talia, who's not doing quite well. Make a dexterity save.
Dexterity. Okay. 18.
Okay, that is exactly what you needed to make the save. You take 9 points of acid damage.
Ow!
And it has messed up that hair that you just got into place 5 seconds ago.
Right, well, time for murder if that's the case. I will cast Hexblade Curse as a bonus action.
It's always a good time for murder.
I was going to say even at a wedding, but then I remembered the Lannisters.
It's always a good time for murder. I will summon Raven Queen's Wrath and take 2 swipes, holding it with both hands. So I can do the D10s instead of the D8s.
An LFA has appeared in chat. The battle cry of Yeet has been uttered.
Okay, so that is a 17 total.
17 will hit.
Okay, cool. Second is a natural 20, though.
Okay, so that's 2 hits.
Okay,
1 crit.
So do the crit first. So 14 plus what does Hexblade Curse give me? Plus 3, so 17 for the crit. And the non-crit. D&D Beyond's being very slow with this rolling today. Is 5 plus 3 is 8.
Okay. Anything else?
No, a bonus action and my stab.
Okay. Morley, make a dexterity save.
Okay. Dexterity save is 12 total.
Okay, you take 18 points of acid damage.
Oh, I am in big trouble now.
No, anyone who starts their turn in the bad is going to be making a save.
Right, yes, I know. I assume it's my turn then? Right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to try to cast Chill Touch again so that thing over there cannot heal. Maybe I'll do better this time. 17 total?
17 will hit.
Woohoo! Okay, damage is... Yes?
Archbeth, they can't back away to where the hut used to be safe because it covered the hut also. So when the hut went pop, the bad fell down onto the ground.
Yeah. I have 10 damage.
Okay.
Okay, and it can't heal. Let's see. It takes 1d8 necrotic damage, so it's necrotic damage. It cannot regain hit points until the start of my next turn. Until then, this spectral hand just clings to it.
It's giving the worst head pats.
Yep. And I guess that's my turn.
Archbeth, you made a very good point.
Stop making points, Beth.
Okay, Gorga, make a dexterity save.
Okay, and I got a 21.
21 hits.
So do I take any damage or none at all?
Oh wait, I'm thinking ahead. You are going to take 9 points of acid damage.
That sounds better than the alternative, but Gorga has definitely had a better time. And I'm going to make an attack with my short bow.
I'm looking forward to the point where you can say I made the save, so I take none. What do you think about that?
I don't think I have the ability yet, but...
No, but
I
you
did
will.
roll a 16 on my attack roll.
Wait a minute. What
16 on my attack roll.
A 16 will hit.
And do I get sneak attack?
Ellie is attempting to ask a question, and yes, you get sneak attack.
What kind of damage does the worst hippo's spit do?
Acid.
Gorga, as a water genasi, you're resistant to acid.
That I am. I forgot about that.
Okay, so that meant you took 4 points of damage this turn.
All right, and with my short bow, with the sneak attack, I do a total of 24 damage.
It doesn't like that. By the way,
I apologize for interrupting.
No, it was worthwhile. It's also worth noting that the spit is rather foamy. You're looking at a layer on the ground that's about 3 feet deep. It actually says here, to a height of 3 feet. So this is the worst loogie.
This is a dog that desperately needs someone to look at its...
There's little bits of grass floating in it.
Of what?
Grass.
Grass.
Because you mentioned a dog that needs someone to look at. Whatever. Dogs chew grass and then puke. Never mind. Moving forward.
Yeah, no. I got it. I what I thought you said was brass.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, this is a steampunk world now. This worst hippo is in fact wearing a top hat and monocle. It has no eyes, but the monocle is just taped onto the side of its head.
And something must be wrong with either your microphone or my headphones, because what I heard just now was spleen punk.
Oh no!
That is not something I want to see realized.
No.
I'm sure someone has. I will not look for it.
I will make spleen punk happen, and it will be body horror in total.
Please don't.
Yes, that's a very firm no from me. That's not even a ranting. Nope. It's just let's not. Let's move forward. Let's talk about Vex, shall we? Now, Vex is flying, so Vex is above the layer of spittle, which is good for Vex, because if Vex made a save, Vex would still die. And I've killed enough NPCs as it is right now. So they are going to swoop in and try to do a sting. That is a 17 on the die. They have a bonus to hit, but a 17 is high enough. So now we have a Constitution saving throw that needs to be made. That is over 20. It makes a save. But it does manage to do 4 points of stinging damage. 4 points of Vex damage. 4 points of I'm helping damage.
He is helping.
Yes. And he continues to fly around in small circles at what he believes is just out of reach. Okay, so now it is the worst hippo's turn. It has a name. That name is now worst hippo. And looking at Vex's
it doesn't get to heal since it has chill touch on it.
Right?
This is also true. And looking at Vex's stats for this thing is not going to help me with my rolls.
Oh, yeah.
First, I'm going to see if it has recharged its spit attack, which is not what it's called, but it's what it is. That's a 1, so it is not recharging. Instead, it is going to do a multi-attack.
Oh, no.
Yes.
All right.
It is going to first go for some punching attacks. And who is it going to go after? Let's roll.
Well, I'm
Let's
right up
roll a
in
die.
its face.
Well, yes, you are.
Gorga already hates her life, but yeah.
I mean, I'm also right up in its face.
Yes.
You did go.
And so is Morley.
Oh, true.
And I rolled and I got Morley.
Oh, really? I don't think I'm that close to him. But okay.
Oh, wait.
Bypassed
no,
all the
you're
rest.
right, you're right.
Come and get me.
You had
You
to chill
did-
touch. You had to use chill touch, didn't you?
No, chill touch is a
wait,
ranged
it actually
attack, though.
touch, or is it just called
Chill
that?
touch is
Something-
neither.
Chill touch is a ranged attack.
It's a ranged
Yeah.
spell.
That is poorly named.
Oh yeah,
it's
that
terribly
is
named. It's not a
famously
chill either.
poorly
It's
named.
necrotic, and
Yeah.
you could be far away and throw it at it, basically. So it sounds weird, but that's what that does.
So you are right.
It's
Morley
a very
was.
badly named spell, but a great spell nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a wonderful spell. It's just very misleading when you look at the name. So we've got Talia up in its face. We have Rhine up in its face. Gorga was doing attacks with a short bow, so Gorga's ranged. Morley's ranged. And Zuda, are you ranged?
Cast Guiding Bolt.
Yes.
Guiding bolt, so you're ranged. So it's just 2 of you. So I'm going to roll again. I'm just going to do even odds. That is odds. So it is going to be, and I'll be honest, I'm going by how your names are listed in general voice chat on here. So that means Talia is going to get a punch to the face, or at least attempt. That's a very strong bonus to hit, which makes it a 10. I'm assuming that misses.
Yeah.
The next attack, it doesn't matter who it's aiming for, because that's a 1.
Nah.
It drops its weapon.
Give good scrub.
It lands face first at its own spit, which it's immune to, by the way. The next attack is... that's also going for Talia, but that is also incredibly low. I'm not going to bother to math that. Third attack, that's going to be going after Rhine, and that was a 24 to hit.
Shield.
I'll cast Shield.
Woo.
Okay, so it hits the shield.
Mm-hmm.
It casts anti-shield, which is not a thing, so it can't.
No, that's called Counter Spell.
It does not know counterspell.
I am glad.
And it also tries to bite you, but that's a 16 total, and your AC is yes. So a 16 is not going to do the bite. All right. So now that I've spent like 3 minutes with one character's attacks, it's Zudith's turn.
Did Talia take damage that round?
No. No, I'm good.
Morley and Gorga are both.
So Morley and Gorga are both down. Not down, but down hit points.
Well, by the way,
very much so.
By the way, Zuda, make a dexterity save.
Gorga's taking a lot of damage, but she's still standing and still firing with her short bow.
Will a 3 work?
3
Oh,
means that you are going to take half damage because you're a water genasi,
Mm-hmm.
which will be 9 points of damage.
Okay. I can deal with that.
And for your rebuttal,
Can I get a out of your maximum hit points, Gorga and Morley?
Morley has 11 hit points left. Gorga has 22.
Okay.
I'm at 22 out of 45.
I'm at 11 out of 38.
Vex has 7, but that's with the tank full, so it doesn't really help much.
Okay. As a bonus action, I am going to give 9 hit points back to Morley.
Thank you. Maybe I will survive this.
And then I am going to present my holy symbol and emanate a sphere of twilight.
What does that do?
And anyone who ends their turn within the sphere, it's a 30-foot radius sphere, and who I like gets 1d6 plus 5 temporary hit points.
How do you feel about Talia? Just out of curiosity.
I'm fine with Talia.
Okay.
Talia might not be fine with me, but I'm fine with Talia.
Okay, just double checking. Because things have come up.
I entirely imagine that is the case. Like I'm pretty sure Talia is 100% aware that is the case.
And that's 8 temporary hit points to me as my turn ends.
Okay. Ryan, dexterity
Alright.
saving throw. Because at this point, no one has said, you know, this bad, I shouldn't end my turn in it. Except for Vex.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the dragonborn.
Technically, I could go up, but I don't want to use that right now. That's a 7. How much acid damage am I taking?
That is 18 points of acid damage.
This is my turn again, so I have a reaction again, don't I?
Yes, you do.
I would like to use Absorb Element and have the 18 acid damage.
Okay. In my head canon, as everyone's just standing in this acid stuff, you get the sense that you're just slowly sinking as the bottoms of your shoes get dissolved.
And I would like to use Green Flame Blade.
This is my surprise face. Hit it a lot.
And that is not plus 6, that is plus 5 because this involves a weapon attack. And that is a 22 to hit. So it's going to do... this is going to be complicated because this is also a melee attack, and if it's not immune to acid damage, Absorb Elements is adding acid damage.
It's safe to say, because it doesn't seem to be taking any damage from its own spit, that it is immune to its spit.
Oh, okay. Alright then. That means I am rolling somewhat fewer dice, and I'm sorry, I'm having to track down all my damage on different pages. Okay. That is 4 piercing, 8 fire.
Okay. By the way, it's been bloodied for most of this round. I should have pointed that out. Okay, next up is... Sorry? Oh wait, that was your first attack.
Right, and now I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon as a bonus action. I'm guessing the 13 will not hit.
A 13 just misses, actually. For real this time.
Okay.
All right. So next up is the Dragonborn. The Dragonborn does not have regeneration abilities. I am still looking at the monster stats. Click on the next character in your tracker, Crash. Click on the next character. This person is going to cast Zone of Truth. No, they do not. That is not a spell that they have.
Gorga dislikes this.
They immediately demand to know certain facts from this creature. It responds only in a language that none of you speak. Instead, what they're going to do...
Cast comprehend languages.
Your eyes cross. You understand
Gorga
it.
also dislikes that.
You understand it, and it makes your eyes cross from understanding it. So they are going to attempt Sacred Flame. That is a dexterity save on the monster's part. And that is what's their bonus to dex? So remember before when Ia was saying they had to look at multiple pages? Yes, feel my pain. This is every round of combat. What is your spell casting DC? Okay, it makes a save. It fizzles. It's a cantrip. And they are going to attempt to get out of the bad. Oh, I forgot to roll for them. Yeah, that is a failure. So they have taken 18 points of acid damage. They are bloodied, and they are going to attempt to get out of the bad. They're going to invoke an attack of opportunity. Well, if you want to attack the dragonborn, yes.
Oh no, I thought the bad thingy was just
That is
so
a crit.
So tempting for Talia to take an attack of opportunity.
I mean, they have not been within your range because you... Actually, no, they are, because you rushed forward. But
I rush forward to stab things.
I will tell you, the Dragonborn attempts to flee out of the bad, and in doing so invokes an attack of opportunity from the worst hippo. The worst hippo has rolled a crit.
I want to take that in.
Murder!
Do you have a reaction left?
Oh, no, wait, no, I don't. I forgot that I absorbed elements at the start of my turn.
Yep, unfortunately. So, what was that about murder?
Hold on. I have a gift for this.
And there it is.
Yes, you do. You do have a GIF for that. That is... I shouldn't roll because minimum damage is more than this person's hit points remaining. So I'm not going to. They go down. They get a backhanded slap and they bounce off of the outside wall of the staircase and crumble to the ground in a heap.
Oh, no. Yes.
Start of the next turn.
Hello.
Somewhere off in the distance, Gen E is working on their magnum opus. It is 8.5 seconds of static. The last half second is very important. It's where you hit the crescendo. Talia.
So the acid damage is coming from something on the floor, yes?
It's coming from the 3 feet thick foam layer of bad that you are all standing in.
What's the distance on it?
If you step out of this alcove, you'll be out of it.
Okay.
But in doing so, you will invoke an attack of opportunity.
I mean, you say that.
Unless, if you don't step out and instead use some other ingenious means of transportation, there is a possibility that you won't invoke an attack of opportunity.
Misty step.
You are now standing on a corpse. Or at least someone making death saves. It's hard to tell. I mean, you'd probably be able to tell by checking to see if they're breathing. You'd probably be able to tell by checking to see if they're breathing, but you're standing on their lungs, so they can't.
I remain standing on the lungs, and I'm a terrible person. I am the worst, and I cast 2 Eldritch Blasts.
Now, I should probably specify at the worst hippo or the Dragonborn.
I'm not just going to Eldritch Blast the unconscious Dragonborn.
I'm concerned that there was a pause.
There was a slight pause. No, the worst hippo.
Okay. And I have a GIF for this.
Wait, the Dragonborns are friendly. Don't they get temporary hit points?
The temporary hit points didn't matter against a crit.
So 22.
Oh, they're at the beginning of the turn, not. Oh, right. Yeah, no, sorry.
It was the attack of opportunity that crit.
I got my brain confused about which order they went in again.
It's
22
fine.
for both Eldritch Blasts.
That's a 22 to hit.
For both of them.
Okay, yeah, those will both hit.
So that nearly tipped to something real bad on damage there. So 17 on the first, and the box is in the way, so I need the box to come up. 8 plus 3 is 11 on the second.
Okay, and now it's the moment the worst hippo was waiting for. It is the beginning of Morley's turn, which means from this point on, it might be able to regenerate.
And I do take my foot off the lungs.
So you're so kind. You hear a faint, to Blade!
I'm so kind.
Morley, Jen, are you there?
Yeah, I muted myself again. That was great. Okay, so...
Jen, you're getting a habit of this.
I know. I'm not I'm a little out of it today. Okay, so yeah.
I saw video earlier this week of a senator being interviewed. It was something about a nature preserve, and they talked for a good 30 seconds before they realized that they were muted.
Happens to everybody now, I guess. Yep. Okay, so I don't think I have an easy way to get out of the bad.
Yeah, you can take the same route that the dragonborn took.
Oh.
And they haven't gone since then. They have already used their reaction to do the attack of opportunity. So you would be able to just say, I'm not going to be here anymore. However, that's something you'll be doing after you make your dexterity save for this round.
Okay. So I guess I'll do a dexterity save.
Yes.
15?
A 15. I forget if that does it or not. Let me check. Yes, a 15 just does it. So
okay.
You are taking half damage. That's 9 acid damage.
Okay. Back to 11 again. Okay, so can I cast Chill Touch from here and then try to walk by? Okay, we'll do it that way.
Your action and your movement are two different
things. Okay, so let's see if I hit. Oh no, I got a 9 total. I missed entirely, I think.
Okay. But then you also get out of the bad, and there is no attack of opportunity because that already happened. Yeah. And the worst hippo hasn't had a turn since then.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that I tried to hit as I was running by and didn't aim well. Or
yeah, you were casting and fleeing at the same time.
Yeah. Some portion of the wall behind the big bad has Chill Touch for a minute, I guess. I don't know.
You almost hit Vex, but Vex flies out of the way and chirps angrily at you. Actually, no. Vex chirps angrily at the spectral hand.
That's better, yes.
Yeah, it's the pseudo-dragon equivalent of, "Hey, I'm flying here."
Yeah. Okay.
Jen Morley gets 7 temporary hit points.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Gorga. I know that you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway for posterity. Make a dexterity saving throw.
I got a 16, but has LA reminded me I am immune to acid, or at least resistant to acid.
Yes, so you make your save and you're resistant, which cuts everything down to 4. And for your rebuttal...
I'll take 4 points of damage, and then I'll make a ranged attack with my short bow, which I get a 22 at, and do I get my sneak attack damage?
One could argue that it's currently engaged with several people. It is a polycule, but there is some toxicity in this relationship. There's going to need to be some therapy.
Mm-hmm. Then if I get sneak attack, I make a total of 19 damage with 1 arrow.
You said 19 damage?
19.
That's a lot of damage. Okay. Is there anything else you care to do?
I mean, I'm a rogue, so most of my damage comes from the sneak attack.
I was referring to the fact that there's
8 damage.
I was referring to the fact that this is the moment where you can get out of the bad and not invoke an attack of opportunity because it's already done that.
Yes, I will try to move out of the acid breath.
Okay.
I'm still attacking with my short bow.
Imagine, if you will, there is a room that has been filled 3 feet deep with the balls from like a McDonald's Playhouse ball pit. And the door opens and you just see Gorga stumbling out of it. Now, several other people have already done this. Talia's like, "You walked?" Peasants. But
I didn't have much choice, but I got out of there.
It is Vex's turn.
Gorga, you get 9 temporary.
I will make note of that. Thank you.
Vex is going to go in for a bite. That is... That's a dirty 20.
Aww.
Vex has a +5 to hit. No, +4 to hit. I'm wrong. It's not a dirty 20. It's a 19. It's a 19. It's not as cool as a dirty 20. That's not important. What's important is it hits. What's important is that is 4 points of piercing damage. What's important is it only had 2 points left.
How does Vex want to do this?
Did the pseudo-dragon just steal our kill?
The pseudo-dragon goes in and does a tiny little, I tear out your throat, and it hits like the one part where there's an artery.
He is helping us.
Good job, Vex. You did good, kid.
Vex chirps the Final Fantasy victory theme and flies in a happy little circle. And then, because immediately following Vex is this thing's turn, and Chill Touch was not cast.
No, I missed.
So it regenerates hit points.
Ugh.
Oh, poor little Vex.
And immediately goes for a bite on Vex.
Oh, no.
Since Vex ended its turn, it gets 7 temporary.
Okay. Well, those are going to get used up. Because that is a bite. Ooh, that's over 20.
Wait, how does this thing have another turn this round?
It's the start of its turn. It
hasn't had a turn yet this round.
Yeah, it hasn't even done a reaction this round. It did a reaction last round, but after its turn.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yep. If I didn't have a combat tracker, I wouldn't be able to understand any of this either. But that's a strength or dexterity saving throw for Vex. It's gonna be, well, Dex is +2, strength is -2. So guess which one I'm picking? That is okay. So Vex is spinning in circles, chirping happily. This thing rises up and goes, home, and there's no more Vex.
Oh.
That's a lot of damage.
Did you say there's no Vex?
It used an ability called.
Vex.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
It's a running thing.
This is. Oh, no.
I'll be honest, I wasn't even thinking about that. But that is the fate of the original Vex in multiple encounters, yes.
This is just a running gag at this point.
It kind of is, but yeah, Vex's pseudo-dragon just had this thing open up its mouth in 3 different directions and go...
Oh, I know what I want to do on my next turn.
Somewhere on Fear and Night, Blood Elf, not Night Elf, Half Elf Vex just gonna chills up his spine. Doesn't know why.
Right.
That happens to him a lot.
Vex would like to rage.
Hmm?
Well, it doesn't matter which Vex we're talking about either. With that said, that was one attack. Is there anyone still in melee range? I think everyone got out of there. No, Ryan didn't.
Oh.
Ryan didn't. So now it's going to go for Ryan because the tank is now finally the only person within range. That's a nope. That's a nope. It was almost a crit, but it landed on 2 instead. That's a nope. These numbers are low enough I'm not even doing math because if it's not going to be over 20, there's no point in doing the math. And that's a nat 1. So no. Nope. In my headcanon, Ryan doesn't even really dodge. It's just Ryan realizes the attacks aren't going to land.
Their shield.
Okay, that worked. Actually, no, it already uses bite. It's trying to hit you with its hands. It can't do 2 bites in 1 round.
Well, that's why it's missing, clearly.
Well, yeah, that and it's got its mouth full. Zuda.
The creature does not get temporary hit points.
Thank you.
Thank you for specifying.
It needs to make a wisdom save at 14.
It's very wise. So wise it doesn't have a negative modifier. That's an 11.
Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings, and it takes 19 points of...
Okay, it's down again. Anything else you want to do?
I would recommend helping our guide not die.
Which
I
guy?
gotta be able to see Vex.
Well, there's a mouth right there. You got to pry it open and hope it doesn't regenerate before you finish.
Someone cut him out.
I intend to.
Okay, Ryan, it's your turn.
Excellent.
Roll dexterity saving throw.
All right.
It's not quite 3 feet high anymore. It's starting to go down, but it's still there. A 9, so you are going to take 18 points of acid damage.
Is Ryan still okay?
I'm not bloodied yet.
The temporary hit points every round helps.
Damn.
So Ryan is beefy.
And now I would like to get Vex out of there.
Okay, give me a strength check.
Just strength, or can I use athletics?
I would allow athletics.
I am proficient in athletics.
The nope mouth opening event at the next Olympics
That is a 21.
is going to be disturbing for everyone. 21 manages it. You manage to pry the thing's mouth open. Well, 2 of the 3 jaws open because you only have 2 hands. And there is an unconscious Vex inside, looking very much worse for wear, and you're able to yank that Vex right out.
All right. Was that my action?
I would say that is your action, yes.
Okay.
Bonus action, toss the pseudo-dragon to the cleric. Sorry, you go.
I'm hoping the cleric can keep our unconscious guide from dying, so I am going to quicken Cure Wounds Vex.
Okay. Give me your roll.
I don't need to.
Huh?
If you quicken Cure Wounds Vex, I don't need to keep him from dying.
Well, there's also the dragonborn.
Right.
Right. Our guide is unconscious and making death saves.
Oh, I get you.
So I think Vex is back at full.
Okay. With a roll of 8 for healing, yes. You topped off the tank and spilled a little gas on the floor.
And Ryan gets 8 temporary hit points.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay. Next up is the dragonborn. I rolled their death save. I got a 1.
Oh.
Oh.
Talia standing on them counted as a fail.
Seriously, I thought that was just like flavor. I don't think that was actually something.
Okay, fine. I was saying it as a joke, so sure, I won't count that as. But they just rolled a 1. They have failed 2 death saves because they rolled a 1. Is there anyone who wants to do something about that?
I would love to, but as far as I know,
temporary hit points, don't they?
Temp hit points don't stop fails on death saves.
As far as I know, we're still in an initiative.
Temp hit points.
Well, they're still
back
bad.
on your feet.
I don't know if that's how that works.
Yeah, it is. They're temp hit points. They just.
Are we still in initiative?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Then I can't do anything about it until my next turn.
So that means it's Talia's turn.
There's an awful lot I can do about it. I just can't do it until my next turn.
I mean, is the assist action a thing? Is that a thing that we do?
Yeah.
Where I can just stop him from making death saves?
You can attempt to stabilize him with a medicine check, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and do that, sure.
Talia's just like, fine, maybe not murder this one right this second.
Hey! For someone who's not good at medicine, not bad, 17.
Okay. You're pretty sure they are breathing and have managed to, pour baking soda on the spots that had acid burns, and now they're all foamy. It's kind of bad, but whatever.
I've fixed them mostly, I think.
The rest of the party doubts that there's anything you could do to fix the dragonborn. Yeah, as Archibald says, for a value of fix. I'm going to say at this point we're out of initiative because no one is making death saves at this point, and I think everyone is getting out of the bad.
Okay.
In that case, I will spare the dying just to.
Oh, that's what the medicine check did.
I'm being on the safe side.
That's fair.
That's fair. The DM has thrown things at you before, so belt and suspenders is a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't, in character, I don't know what the medicine check did.
Yep.
And
That's
spare
fair.
the dying is a cantrip, so it doesn't cost me anything to cast it.
And Talia saying that she fixed him doesn't necessarily. This is Talia who's speaking.
And then Healing Word gives him 6 hit points back.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw fire bolts at the thing till I'm real sure it's not going to get on its feet again.
Okay. So here's the thing. You do significant amount of damage with Firebolt, and it gets back up anyway.
I was going to say, does Firebolt actually do fire damage? I think it's force, isn't it?
Firebolt does. Firebolt does do fire damage, but fire doesn't seem to keep this thing down.
Oh, son of a...
And that's where we're going to end it for tonight, because we've been playing for over 2 hours.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for playing. Thank you everyone for listening. Tonight I'm joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Chris, Ellie, Io, Jen, Cindy, Archbeth's hanging out in chat, LFA's hanging out in chat. We got someone else hanging out in chat where I want to get their name right, so I'm scrolling up in chat. And there was a lot of conversation happening after this person stopped talking. Work Habit was in chat as well, which is fantastic. Is there anything that anyone wants to plug?
My space heater in.
I got mine right next to me. I have it off for this recording. I'll be turning it on immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm. My website is Book of Jen at bookofjen.net. There's several podcasts on there, including one that is just gameplay from Diablo 3 and a bunch of other video game stuff, and then stuff that's completely unrelated to that. And it's at bookofjen.net.
It's good. You should look at it.
Thank you.
I also do a podcast. It's called Azeroth Coast to Coast. We talk about World of Warcraft and other video games and other nerd things, and you can find us at AzerothCTC.com.
It's good. You should look at it. I'm giving everybody temporary hit points.
Ellie's using the assist action.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/cogwheelgaming. You can help us keep the lights on, along with other illustrious patrons, including Ellie, Eric, Janatalock, Mickey, Shenshen, and Walter.
Oh, wait. Elizabeth-McCoy.com has books that you should read.
Yes, that was what I was. Yes. Thank you.
And also grcogman.com has updates on books that you should read.
Yes.
grcogman.com.
All right. So this is Crash saying until next time. Well, I say, that was very exciting. I was pretty sure that crazy old dragonborn wasn't going to make it. I'm honestly surprised that Talia helped out. Well, shows. You can't always judge a book by their cover. I wonder what they'll do next. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
What we'll do next? Punch the lawyer in the face.
Did I say you noticed any lawyer?
The lawyer is not here.
No, definitely
No,
not.
no. I get why Talia. I understand why Talia did medicine on. I truly do.
Okay, why?
If anyone's going to kill this annoying dragonborn, it's going to be Talia.
God damn it, I hate that she's right.
And on that note, we'll see you next week. Have fun, everyone.